Story time is any time, and any time is story time. Gather round and all sit down, 'cause story time is now. Hi, my name is Gloria Elder, and my story is Why the Sky is Far Away, a Nigerian folktale retold by Mary Joan Gerson. In the beginning, the sky was very close to the earth. In that time, men and women did not have to grow their own food. They did not have to prepare soup and cook rice. The children did not have to carry water from the streams or gather sticks for the fire. Anybody who was hungry just reached up, took a piece of sky, and ate it. It was delicious too. Sometimes the sky tasted like meat stew, sometimes like roasted corn, and sometimes like ripe pineapples. There was very little work to do, so the people spent their time weaving beautiful cloth, carving handsome statues, and retelling tales of adventures. There were always festivals to prepare for. The musicians practiced, the mask makers carved their mask in secret, and everywhere the children watched the preparations in wonder. The king of the land was called the Oba. His court was magnificent. At the royal palace were a team of servants whose only work was to cut and shape the sky for ceremonies. Now the sky was growing angry because people were wasteful. Most often they took more than they could possibly eat and threw the leftovers onto rubbish heaps. So one morning at sunrise, the sky turned very dark. Thick black clouds gathered over the Oba's palace, and a big voice boomed out from above. "Oba, mighty one, your people have wasted my gifts. I am tired of seeing myself soured and spoiled on rubbish heaps across the land. I warn you, do not waste my gifts any longer, or they no longer will be yours." The Oba, in terror, sent messengers carrying the sky's warning to every corner of the land. In every village, the people were told of the sky's unhappiness. The children were warned never to take a piece of sky unless they were truly hungry. The people were very, very careful, that is, for a while. Then came the time for the greatest festival of the year. It was the festival that celebrated the power of the Oba. The most important palace dancers performed all through the night, and the Oba himself, in ceremonial robes, danced for his subjects. By the fifth day, there was rejoicing in every home and on every street. The Oba knew, though, that with all the dancing and merriment, people might forget the sky's warning, so he made sure no one took more sky than he or she absolutely needed. Now there was a woman in this kingdom who was never satisfied. She could barely move when she wore all the weighty coral necklaces her husband had bought her, but she still craved more necklaces. She had 11 children in her own home and still felt it was empty. And most of all, Idacy loved to eat. On the very last night of the celebration, Idacy and her husband were invited to the Oba's palace. There they danced and ate well past midnight. What an evening it was, Idacy thought later, standing in her own garden again. How I wish I could relive tonight. The drumming I heard, the riches I saw, the food I ate. And hoping to taste again the cocoa yams and meat stew she'd eaten at the Oba's palace, took a big chunk of it to eat. She had barely eaten 1/3 of it when she could swallow no more. "What have I done?" wailed Idacy. "I cannot throw this away. Oh, Tolo," she calls to her husband, "come and eat this piece of sky for me." Her husband, still exhausted from dancing all night and eating all the food at the Oba's palace, could only take one bite. "Wake the children," wailed Idacy. Now the children had spent the night at a masquerading party after their dinner, and most of them were too full to even nibble at their mother's piece of sky. The neighbors were called, and the neighbors' neighbors were called, but Daisy still held in her hand a big chunk of sky. "What the matter?" she said finally. "One more piece of sky on a rubbish heap." And just to make sure it didn't matter, she buried the leftovers in a garbage bin in the back of her house. Suddenly, the ground shook with thunder. Lightning creased the sky over the Oba's palace, but no rain fell. "Oba, mighty one, your people have not treated me with respect. Now I will leave you and move far away." But, what will we eat?" cried the Oba. "How will we live?" "You must learn to plant the crops, harvest them, and hunt in the forest. Perhaps through your own labor, you will learn not to waste the gifts of nature." No one in the land slept very well that night. The rising sun uncovered the heads of men and women and children, peering over rooftops and through windows, straining to see if the sky had truly left them. It really had. It had sailed upward, far out of their reach. From that day onward, men and women and children had to grow their own food. They tilled the land, they planted the crops, and harvested them, while far above them rested the sky, distant and blue, just as it does today. Now this story is at least 500 years old. It was first told in Beni, the language of the Beni tribe of Nigeria, which has existed for more than 800 years old. The Beni people live today, along with many other tribes, in what is now the country of Nigeria. How interesting it is that the Beni people long ago began to teach their children to respect the earth and sky. Today, we are very concerned about saving our planet. We now see, just as the wise Beni did then, that the future of nature and its gifts rest in our own hands. Thank you.